Last night, those kids showed up and became men last night in front of us, and they were led by Xavier Thames and, of course, Steve Fisher. And on the hook with us now, we've been so proud to have him with us. Justin Hutson, assistant coach with the Aztecs. I don't think he can be any more prouder with that group of men last night that he had on the floor there in Anaheim. Coach, thanks for stepping in with us.
Thanks for having me, Dan. You're right. We're very proud of the young men we have.
Coach, what was said to the players in the locker room after the game?
A lot of things. I think, you don't remember verbatim what was said, but you remember that coach and the coaching staff and the players were, you're extremely disappointed. You're a little down, but you talk about holding your head high and how proud you are. There's only going to be one winner at the end of this year. You want it to be us. We thought it could be us, but it wasn't. You have to reflect on how good a year you had, reflect on the journey and not the outcome, and move forward.
Was it emotional in there, Coach?
Absolutely. And if it's not, and I know Coach said this, if you didn't have a little emotion in you last night, then something was wrong.
Coach, what I try to do to people, I try to bring them in the locker room. And when a player breaks down, it's not because of anything of losing. It's because, like you said, the journey, the loving one another. And that's the thing that I took away, Coach. As the season went on more and more, those players got galvanized by one another. And the disappointing thing is that the journey ended for that group of men that will not be together going forward because, graduating classes, what have you. It's a testament to what their effort was last night, I thought.
Absolutely. And it's very disappointing for guys like Xavier Thames or Josh Davis. They led us very well. They led by example. They led with words. And you were just hoping for them that we could keep playing and have one more game and take one game at a time, but we can't. It's over. So, when you work for 4, 5, 6 months together and you see each other as much as you do, it's an overused word, but it is a family. It's a basketball family. You're traveling around the world. You're winning and losing together. You're being emotional. And now it comes to a abrupt halt. It's tough. But, that's a good thing about sports. It teaches you about handling success and handling some disappointments. And now it's time to move on.
Justin Hutson, assistant coach with the Aztecs here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. And Coach, to be fair to Arizona, I asked Andy Katz this question yesterday from ESPN, how good that team is. He said they could win the national championship. We're not talking about getting beat by some Cinderella team. We're talking about one of the preeminent programs, and I thought we battled them all the way down to the end.
You have to give credit to Arizona. You look back at, the what ifs and the things we could have did the last 5 minutes of the game, whether it was the players or the coaching staff. If you're not worth your salt if you're not looking back and saying, what could I have done more? Is there anything else we could have done? But at the same point in time, we've talked about this before, Dan, on your show, you got to give hats off to the victors. It's not always about what somebody else could have done. They did a great job of making some plays down the stretch that we quite just didn't make, and, good luck to those guys.
Coach, I got to tell you, the growth of watching Xavier Thames in front of us the last 2 months, especially since I've been here, he's gotten better and better and better. And I'm not just talking about shooting the ball and rebounding. I'm talking about leading by example. I don't know if he's a boisterous guy in the locker room. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jeter. I don't hear a lot of chest pumping out of the kid, but what does he mean to the program going forward now that he leaves it behind in his great resume that he has as an Aztec player?
He was invaluable to the program, not only as a basketball player, but as a person. And you're right, he was a quiet leader. He spoke when he needed to, but he led loud and clear with his example. Worked very hard this summer to stay healthy, worked very hard on his game, and was just an ambassador for the program. When you bring recruits in, when you bring people in, there's nobody better than having Xavier Thames lead your guys and be a mentor to the younger guys and a leader to everybody in that program and everybody in that locker room. Couldn't happen to a nicer person, the success he had.
Justin Hutson, assistant coach Aztecs here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. I tell you, too, Coach, something as an old recruit myself, when you look at a coach like Steve Fisher, when he jumped up on that goaltending that was, in my opinion, bad. That was a horrible call against us when he jumps out of his chair at 68 years old. He goes, "No way!" I mean, you got me sitting back as an old recruit going, God, I'd love to play for a guy like that. I mean, to me, it was a Chamber of Commerce moment for the program, too. Showing you again, I mean, even Steve Kerr was commenting, the fan base there in Anaheim, too. There are so many positives coming out of this season. Really a team to remember that fans can really wrap themselves around, no?
Yeah, we'd be remiss not to mention the fans. They were absolutely awesome all year long. They made their way down to Anaheim. Coach did a great job leading this program. He was pretty excited over that call. It was nice to see him get excited over that call. You know, our leadership is strong, you know, and our fan base is strong, and our administration is strong. So we got to keep moving. We got a lot of good players coming back. We got good players coming in. You know, it's hard to think about it right now. You know, you're going to go ahead and lick our wounds. We have an open wound now, but it's going to heal up soon. And, you know, it'll be time to move on, and we have a bright future.
Coach, I think, you know what, this is personal between you and me here. I think you have a bright future. And I'll tell you something that I talk about all the time about player growth. You know, when you came up with the 1-3-1 in the game that helped us win against New Mexico, and then I saw it implemented last night, you were the first person I thought about. And then I started thinking about my old college coach, Jimmy Johnson, how he would allow his coaches to coach and to be engaged in a game plan. You know how many coaches in the world are anal about allowing their assistants to actually be engaged. They talk a good game, but they don't really develop. I mean, it's got to be awesome to be on a staff where your input matters.
It's really nice being on a staff that your input matters, and it speaks volumes of Coach Fisher. You know, it really does. I think this year it's kind of gotten out, and with the 1-3-1 being a galvanizing force of winning the championship. But, you know, I've been, for 4 years, Coach has allowed me to do that. My first couple of years here was just recruit, get to know everybody, and I was happy with that. But about my third year here, he allowed me, he saw something in me that allowed me to have a little more freedom on the defensive end, whether it was pressure defense, whether it was half-court defense, and this staff is great. We share scouts. Everybody's together. They allow me to be a huge voice on that defensive end, and we're all a voice. You know, we take each other's advice. You know, we talk to each other. There's no egos in that locker room, and obviously that starts from your head man. When your head man is that way, it's easy to get in and work together and not have any agendas. So I can't be more appreciative of Steve Fisher for what he allows me to do and how he's allowed me to grow and the responsibility he's given me.
Coach, Coach Johnson used to have a mantra around for all of us. The least amount of resistance gives you the best formula for success. If you're all pulling in one direction, that's how you win championships. That came son. Is it the same kind of culture that you're talking about there with the Aztecs?
It's definitely that way with the coaching staff. We don't have to work on that. You know, that's something that's going to be like that for day one. It's definitely like that with us. And that's something that we always try to instill from day one with the players. We're pretty good at it. We all have our own specific role and how we deal with the players. You know, it works. It's good. We're going to keep it that way. And that's led by Coach Fisher.
Coach, the future of the program, talk about it for us Aztec fans.
The future's bright. The future's bright. You know, it's hard to think about it now. You know, I think we'll go to the Final Four and, you know, do our thing that we do there, and then we'll come back and give the guys a spring break. They have that, and then we'll get started with workouts. But, you know, it starts with coach. It goes right down to the coaching staff, and we have really good players that will return and really good players that are coming into the program, and we're looking forward to getting started again here in a couple weeks.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, it's been a magical ride. I don't think this community can be any more prouder of what this team accomplished, losing 3 of the 5 starters, picked to finish 4th in the Mountain West. They end up winning the regular season, going on to a Sweet 16 for the second time in 4 years. 5 straight times they've gone to the tournament now, from building this program from a rubble, from a pebble, into building it into what could be a absolute great testament to what this team can look like down the road. Really remarkable. Congratulations to you, Coach, and great future ahead. We look forward to talking to you again, Coach.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.
You got it. Justin Hutson, assistant coach for the Aztecs. You can tell in his voice, you know, it's tough after something like this. It is. the emotion you feel, man, it never goes away. It just never goes away.